and welcome to Veggie Lane. I'm Executive Chef Gretchen and this is my co-host Paula Kyle. We're here today to teach you all sorts of fun plant-based recipes that you can make at home with your family in just a few minutes. So today we're going to do some more fun dairy, nut-based dairy, Paula. So yay! So you'd asked me for that Alfredo sauce. So this isn't really an Alfredo sauce today, but we're going to do something close. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our cashew cream, which we have done several times before. We've soaked the cashews, or we've done a quick soak in water, and now we have the cashew cream that is now pureed. So we're at that step. You guys have all learned this by now, so we're ready to move on to that next step. We have the actual cashew cream in our possession. All raw cashews, either soaked overnight or using the quick soak method, you can find on my website, myhobos.com. This has had just a pinch of nutmeg and cayenne and agave nectar added, like we added the last time, to make it just a little bit of seasoning. We're going to today make an eggplant tower with a porcini mushroom cheese sauce. Yum.
I'm salivating.
Yum.
Just hearing that.
And then we're going to make a tofu ricotta, a fresh tofu ricotta. So you're going to actually do that for me over here. And I have a non-GMO extra firm block of tofu. This is an organic tofu. And you can see how little water there is in this as I bend it. So there's very little water in it. However, you can use some form of tofu that has a little bit more water in it. The most important thing is it is organic and GMO free. So you're going to break that into that blender over there for me, Paula. And meanwhile, over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my baby Bellas and I'm going to put them in a pan with a little bit of oil. And I'm just going to use an organic canola oil with this because I'm going to go a very, very high heat and sear it. So go ahead and start breaking that in there. And I'm going to start adding this in. Now, I have soaked some porcini mushrooms here. Porcini mushrooms are something you can find in your dried mushroom section or dried spice section. They're expensive, they're not cheap, but they add a lot of flavor and they're worth the money. So I have maybe, I want to say 4 porcini mushrooms here. And I have soaked these and I've strained out all the grit. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the water that I soaked them in, and I'm going to dice these up and throw them in as well. And these are going to start working away in the pan. And they're basically going to work down. I'm going to add a little bit of porcini mushroom dust over here, and then a little bit of nutmeg and a little bit of cayenne. And I'm going to let these cook. Now, the other pan over here, I'm going to actually start my cashew cream. So I'm going to heat up a pan over here, and in this bowl, I have straight cashews, straight cashew cream, and while you're crumbling that tofu in there, I'm going to put this in and get it started heating in here with just a little bit of help from a spatula, and it's going to start heating over here. And then in the last pan over here, I'm going to put my eggplant because I have to cook my eggplant. Now, I don't want to cook my eggplant a lot, and I'm not going to use a flour, a gluten-based flour. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss them in a little bit of gluten-free flour, and I'm just going to basically put them on either side. So I'm going to get them white, and I'm going to put them down like this, Paula. Now, eggplant, and these are a tiny little baby eggplant. They are sponges for oil. Sponges, absolutely. I mean, they will add as much oil as you can possibly give them. So you're going to be careful about that. You're only going to use a really good oil, and you're going to use a really good pan, and you're not going to let them stick, and you're just basically going to put them in just like this. And we're going to move them back and forth a couple times. We want them to cook, but we don't want them to become oil sponges, okay?
I have a question about the eggplant. Now, when you slice it, do you have to drain it in any way?
No, that's an old wives' tale.
Oh,
the only time you have to worry about that is when they're old eggplants and they're bitter. And then you salt them, and basically the salt will leach the bitter flavor out of them. But that's old eggplants. These are baby eggplants. They're brand new. I just got these this morning at the grocery store, and they were so pretty, I just wanted to kiss them. So these are baby, little tiny eggplants, and they're perfect for this time of year. All right, I'm moving these bellas around a little bit with the porcinis, and you can see how they're beginning to bubble. And is the cashew beginning to bubble?
Yes,
can you see that? Good, excellent. That's exactly where we want to be right now. All right, so with this cashew cream, what we're going to do is we're going to thicken it. We're going to cook it and we're going to thicken it. And what we're going to use to do that is tapioca starch. And what tapioca is amazing for is to add a thickener to something without adding gluten to it, because tapioca is gluten-free. And as you know, in my restaurant, I cook 99% of everything is gluten-free. So that's why we're going to do it this way. Now, I'm going to give you the whisk, and I'm going to just start sprinkling in a little bit of tapioca flour. And a very little bit. And then I'm going to start sprinkling in just a tiny little bit of lemon juice.
Boy, that absorbs immediately.
It sure does. And you want to keep it from clumping. Tiny little bit of lemon juice. And by the time we come back from our commercial break, we're going to see this begin to thicken up.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
So we've got a couple things going on right now. Our portobellos and our porcinis are bubbling away, and I want to add a little bit more liquid to this. So I'm just going to throw a little red wine in. Anytime things are moving too quickly, 911 water only. This time it's 911 wine. So we just added a little red wine in here just to stop it from cooking quite so quickly.
And you can do white wine too, right?
I can do white wine, I can do water, I can do anything I wanted. And over here, we're not getting enough cook on our eggplants. So I'm going to drizzle them again with just a tiny little bit of organic canola oil, and then we're just going to flip these over. Whoop, that one got a little bit too much. That's what we don't want, and I'm glad that happened, because you see how this is blackened?
Yes.
It got too much on the heat side of the pan, and see how it's blackened over there? Yes. We definitely don't want this, so we're going to add a little bit more oil to all of these and get these moving around a little bit.
And is this a medium heat?
This should be a medium heat.
Yeah.
I'm not used to an electric oven, I'm not going to lie, or electric stove, I'm not going to lie, but it should be medium. Now that one's perfect right there. So you want to get just that hint of brown without too much brown, all right? So that one's fine. Now, this over here with our mushroom dish and our cashew dish, you're going to start stirring this some more. See how this is thickening like that? Wow, really? So cool. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more porcini dust in here. Now, this is my trick, all right? I have here a truffle-infused balsamic.
Whoa.
Yeah, it doesn't suck. I'm going to throw a little bit of that in. And I'm going to use a tiny little bit of truffle oil here as well. Boom, boom, boom.
Where do you
Do you
get
smell that?
Where do you get the truffle oil?
They have them in the grocery store. It's in
Really?
the gourmet section of the grocery store. Your grocery stores are getting so exotic nowadays. I mean, you really are getting some great stuff. Now see, now all the liquid has disappeared and evaporated here.
Yes.
And these are beautifully cooked. Watch this. I'm going to throw this right in here.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Go, go, go. Now you start mixing that. I'm going to take these over here and I'm going to add a little bit more oil to this pan. We're going to get ourselves some eggplant. I think I was going too nice on the oil. We need to get a little bit more oil. Now look, see what's happening here?
Yes.
This is firming up and hardening. So what you're going to do at this point is you are going to put this in that bowl here and we're going to go ahead and throw it in the refrigerator to get firm.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and add that in to that bowl.
This bowl?
Yep.
Okay.
Now we're only going to make one of these, so this is enough eggplant. I'm just going to turn this off because we're actually done with the cooking portion. I'm going to turn that off. And you can go ahead and pop that in the refrigerator. By the time we're done blending our ricotta, we're going to be ready for assembling. Okay, so over here you have your organic tofu. We're going to throw a little bit of herbs in here, and I'm going to get a little bit of basil while we're at it. That's parsley, but I'm going to get a little bit of basil. So we're going to add a little bit of basil too. We're going to add a little bit of lemon juice. Boom. A little bit of white pepper. Now I like white pepper because it's got an even more clean heat. And we're going to add a little bit of herbal sea salt flakes. Now we're going to push this down. Now this might be better with a food processor, to be quite honest, because it's very, very thick. If it doesn't puree up enough, we're going to add a little bit of water to it. Okay?
I'm going to turn it on.
Turn it on. Okay, push. There you go. All right, let's add a little bit of water. Now push. There we go. Good, you're doing good. There you go. A little bit more. There you go. That's it. I know that sounds bad, but that's actually where you want to be with this. So when it starts to sound bad, when you're actually doing the manual labor of pushing it down, that's when you're with the fresh ricotta. So your next task is you are going to slice these tomatoes. Now these are beautiful heirloom tomatoes that I just picked up, and they're the first ones I've seen this spring. So I was actually really excited by them. And we're going to slice these up, and we're going to lay these like a caprese salad. All right, so take your core out of them. And we're going to clean our basil, which I was able to get fresh basil too. Now, this is not the kind of basil that's grown in your backyard, I'm sorry to say, but I was able to get this. And as far as I'm concerned, any basil that you can get by the leaf is good basil. So it's actually organic even.
I'm going to cut the core out.
Yes, please, cut the core out. Now, I'm a big tomato person, and if I can't get good tomatoes, I don't even bother.
I am in total agreement with that.
I'm going to go grab that ricotta over here. And we're going to grab that mushroom sauce and we're going to start assembling these.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do for you next is put a spoon of the ricotta just like this. So you're going to take a spoon of the ricotta and you're going to smear it on your tomato. And boom, 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 just like that.
Oh.
Look how cute that is. And you could even top it with another tomato if you wanted to. And you could even top it with another stack if you wanted to. You could just keep going. There is no limit. Now what I generally do when I get to this point is I take a nice bottle of extra virgin olive oil and I drizzle it like this, yum, and a little bit of balsamic vinegar. And this one hasn't been opened yet, but if it was open, there you go. I would drizzle a little bit right there. Perfect, absolutely perfect. So that's what you're assembling right here. Now what I'm going to assemble over in this side, yeah, keep going, keep going. What I'm going to assemble over on this side is my mushroom dish. And I have one of my little ramekins here, and I'm going to put 2 little eggplant on the bottom. And then I'm going to take a slice of this mushroom cheese and smack it down.
Let me get some basil.
And a slice again. And smack it down. These are a little warmer than I thought. And then we're going to top it again with the mushroom cheese, and then I'm going to throw it in the oven. And really, this is entirely cooked. So all I'm doing is melting this so it melts through. So my oven can be a low oven. I can go and get out of my work clothes.
Low oven.
Get out of my work clothes. Low oven is about 300.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and throw this in a low oven, and then I am going to go get changed, pour myself a glass of wine.
Sounds good.
And come join you for some eggplant stacked towers with tomatoes. So when we come back, everything's going to be ready and we can start serving.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again?
Yep.
Mix beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it?
Got it.
Throw on the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
You did this all by yourself, actually, so you should be really proud.
I
You've progressed
am proud
a lot.
of
I mean, like
myself.
6 episodes, and you're like taking my job. So, Paula, you've made this wonderful, beautiful caprese salad with a vegan ricotta all by yourself with a non-GMO tofu, and it's an herb spice. It's a fresh cheese on top of heirloom tomatoes with a first fresh olive oil and a balsamic de Modena. And then we also made this mushroom cheese on an eggplant tower, which is made with a cooked cheese, and this is a cooked cashew cheese, which we used a balsamic truffle reduction, which was a little sexy, I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit out there, but still you could do it without that and it would be just fine. Every single thing here, again, came from our local grocery store, and we did it in just that short space of time. We actually have a ton of cheese left over, if you noticed. So I could actually take these cheeses and store them in the refrigerator quite nicely. Just make sure that when you do store them, Paula, that you make sure you cover them, put a flat seal so that there's no oxidation from air, and they will last for several days. Like anything fresh, it should go bad, so food should rot, right?
Yes.
So you want to make sure that you store these in the best possible conditions and use them up quickly. Right?
Now, since this is a ricotta cheese, you could put it on pasta.
You sure could. Yeah, you sure could. And you could actually take this and put it on pasta as well. Now, you can actually take this, and if it chilled a little bit more, it would form into a ball, and you can slice it and use it to melt on vegan pizza. This is one of my favorite things, to put into parchment paper, roll up into logs.
Wait a minute, my mind is processing that. Vegan pizza.
Vegan pizza, I know, it's really exciting. And the lovely thing about this is it actually melts, and this is infused with flavor. I mean, just taste the straight cheese here. Just taste the straight cheese. All by itself, without anything else, right? So it's got so much going on. It's got the truffles, it's got the balsamic, it's got the porcinis, the portobellos, it's got all those wonderful flavors, the nutmeg, the cayenne, all those flavors are melding together, and creating this enormous mouthfeel. So why don't you taste what you did?
Okay.
I'm very impressed. And it's a beautiful plate as well, by the way. Those tomatoes, I can smell them from here. They're so, they say summer's around the corner. I'm not sure I quite believe it, but they say that. How are the herbs? Good?
The herbs are fantastic,
Good.
and it is like a mozzarella and tomato with balsamic. You can't tell the difference.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it. Taste this one too. This is one of my favorites. I actually made this for a very swanky dinner party the other day, and I didn't even tell them it was vegan. They thought it was.
Oh my gosh!
Filled with cheese, and I didn't even tell them. Nice, right? Brilliant. Let me taste this one too.
I love the eggplant.
Yeah, the eggplant absorbs all the flavors.
It
so
does.
the thing I like about the eggplant is it will hold all the mushroom flavors and the truffle flavors, as well as baking and really melding with those flavors of those cheeses, right?
My goodness, I mean, and it's, you know, it's relatively low fat, isn't it?
It is indeed. Now,
It
nuts
doesn't taste
have
low fat.
in them. There's no
Yes.
question. So if you're on a low oil or no oil diet for heart disease, nuts are not on the table. You just don't get to use those. Plant-based, that is. If you're on a plant-based diet, a regular plant-based diet, you have to make sure that you get an adequate amount of fats.
course,
and that's
yes.
one of the things that people are very confused about. What is a good fat? What is a bad fat?
Yes.
Well, raw nuts are a great fat in moderation. I mean, I don't want to sit here and eat 5 pounds of nuts and then say I'm, eating healthily, because
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
Anything in moderation that is this good, that is organic, that is unprocessed, that is raw, is good for me, and I can eat some of that in moderation. I'm not sitting here and swilling a whole bowl every night, but I'm eating enough that I'm getting my oils, and oils help to increase your metabolism. They help to do everything that's good in your body. Now, I'm not a doctor or nutritionist, but this is just common sense.
Yes, and it's good for your skin also.
Yes.
Especially in the winter. And one of the other things about the vegan cheeses is that milk-based cheeses, this is kind of gross, but it creates mucus.
Sure, it does.
And
yes.
this does not create mucus.
And that's actually a very good point, because a lot of people are actually lactose intolerant that choose to take a pill rather than to just not eat dairy. Well, this is a way that you don't have to take a pill. You don't have to eat dairy. You can enjoy your creamy flavors without the obvious problems of being lactose intolerant and consuming dairy. And there's dairy in just about everything. If you start reading labels, which would be something that,
true.
yes, if there's dairy in almost everything, so you really, really need to be careful if you are lactose intolerant. Now, I will say these recipes, and many, many, many others are on my website, myhobos.com. There's also a wonderful blog that talks about a lot of different parts of eating plant-based. I teach a plant-based wellness class in the winter every year for 10 weeks, and a lot of the articles and things that I teach and write about are on that blog. So there's a wealth of information. And again, I don't pretend to be a doctor or dietitian or nutritionist, but I do know how to make good food. And this is good food that's good for your body. And it's common sense that things that are less processed are better for you.
Absolutely.
And the jury has been in for a while on eating less animal proteins. I mean, whether you choose to consume a little bit of dairy or none at all, less is better for us in a long run.
There's just not the after effect. I have a friend that was one of my yoga students and Pilates students was telling me, and he's not a vegan, he made enchiladas and then he put a cream cheese sauce, and he wasn't used to eating that richly, and he went to bed and he felt terrible all night, because his body wasn't used to digesting that. So.
Well, we've all had that experience when we eat something new or something we're unfamiliar with. But I also noticed that, I have young children at home, and my young children still want those young children type of things, which is spaghetti with cheese sauces and mac and cheese and things like that. So I have to balance what they want with what's good for me as I'm beginning to get older. So, and God forbid that I admitted that, but it's true. I am beginning to get older.
We're all getting older.
So I'm beginning to eat a little bit more consciously, both at home and at work. I'm serving people what I want to be eating myself and what I want to be putting in my body myself.
Well, I love the fact that you said that you served this to some non-vegan friends and they did not know the difference.
I did tell them afterwards. So it wasn't quite that slow.
But you know what? They were okay with that,
what is that
right?
fabulous truffle cheese? So divine.
They were okay.
This recipe and many, many others from Veggie Lane you can find on myhobos.com. You can also find archives of our videos there, Paula and myself, teaching you how to cook plant-based for yourself, your family, your friends. All these recipes are easy to make at home, and they're all from ingredients that you can find in your local grocery store. We don't want to make it so you have to shop online to get crazy different ingredients. We want you to be able to come home, pour a glass of wine, take your suit off, cook with your family, do what you do, and enjoy your life.
So we hope you've enjoyed Veggie Lane as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Until next time, I'm Paula Kyle, and this is...
I'm Gretchen Hansen.
We'll see you next time.